Okay, today's video, we're going to talk about PMAX campaigns, and for you to be able to determine how much wasted clicks you're getting from display placements, YouTube placements, discovery placements, and so forth, that PMAX campaigns actually deliver whether you know it or not under your campaign. So in other words, if you're trying to do PMAX, which most people use PMAX campaigns to run shopping ads because it's actually better than running regular shopping ads, and if you didn't know, that is the case, but you still are going to get these other clicks from display ads, YouTube ads that Google's wrapped into a PMAX campaign that you generally don't want and are going to be pure waste. If you're running PMAX already and you want to know how many of your clicks that you're paying for from that PMAX campaign is from display and YouTube and discovery, this video right here is going to be able to show you exactly how to determine what percent are going to be from shopping versus these other placements on discovery, display, and YouTube. And so with that, I'll get right into the content here explaining how you actually determine it, and of that, how do you deal with it also, because obviously knowing about it doesn't, well, what's the point if we can't do anything about it? So I'll give you your options there as well. So if you did not know, PMAX is just, it's not just shopping or search ads. And some of you guys actually might be running PMAX to do search placements in your market instead of running regular search ads. And by the way, I do not recommend that because you're going to get a bunch of junk leads trying to do that in addition to your search ads. Just for the reason I said before, in that PMAX is going to get you on display network, and then running your ads on display, it's going to make your campaign on paper is going to look like it works really well. You're getting lots of conversions, but a lot of these conversions are just bot conversions. So you got to be aware of that. And obviously you might want to run an audit on the leads you are getting if this is what you're doing. So typically PMAX is just good for e-commerce and for running better versions of shopping campaigns. But regardless if you're running this to run search ads or shopping ads, whatever itself, you're always going to get the display, YouTube, and discovery ads because that's what PMAX is. PMAX is not any one campaign type. It's supposed to be all campaign types in one. The display, discovery ads, YouTube ads, search ads, and then also the shopping ads all rolled into one. And with that, it's primarily for people that don't know how to run an ad or run Google ads. And they can set up a campaign really quick, and unless you're selling Nike shoes and you're Nike and everybody knows what your product is and they trust it already, that shit is not going to work. You know, we'll just say very good right away, generally speaking, or not nearly as good as having separate campaigns for each of these different networks that you want to run on, display, shopping, and so forth, because you have much more control over your ads just setting up a search campaign instead of running a PMAX campaign like I was talking about before to run search ads and so forth, except for e-commerce and shopping ads, because the PMAX is going to do a better job running shopping ads than running a regular standard shopping ad for the reasons that you're using more machine learning in with the PMAX to get you conversions that the standard shopping is going to use. So side by side, your PMAX is just going to do better, but it can also, obviously be, and even though it's really, really good to, PMAX is really good to find you customers using all their machine learning that PMAX has built within it, you're also getting these display clicks, these YouTube ad clicks that you don't want, which also drags down the campaign. If you could shut off the worst parts of running PMAX to run a shopping campaign, which is to shut off these display and search clicks and everything else besides shopping, so that you can get all the benefits of having PMAX and the machine learning systems that PMAX offers to run shopping, but without all the other ad networks running, then you get the best of both worlds. So these other ad networks that run alongside your PMAX campaign, other than shopping, if you're running PMAX to do shopping placements, it'll drag the campaign down. And the amount it drags you down can vary. The average is about 20%. It's not too egregious, as you'll find using the method that I have here to show you how much of it actually is dragging your account down. And you may be you're making money, and so it didn't really matter to you. But if you're not making money, you could weed out these extra clicks from display, YouTube, and so forth, and maybe that puts you over the threshold where you can make money. And the difference between making no money and making millions long-term, because you've got something that actually has an ROI that covers all your expenses and so forth, that is feasible for your company. So determine though how much of the PMAX is going to shopping placement clicks versus display network clicks versus YouTube clicks and so forth. You just have to simply follow this system here that anybody can do. Of course, this is telling you how many shopping versus other clicks, right? And this mainly applies to e-commerce businesses. If you're using PMAX for like search campaigns and you're a non-e-commerce business, I'm going to tell you, quit doing that shit, basically. Run a regular search ad. You'll do much, much better in the long run. But for your e-commerce people, if you want to see how many clicks you're getting from shopping versus display and YouTube, simply follow this system. So first of all, what you're going to do once you're logged into your Google Ads account, you're going to go to the top right of your screen and click on Reports. From the drop down, you're going to click on Predefined Reports. Then from there, you're going to go to the Basic. Okay. From there, you're going to go to the right-hand side of your screen that pops up that it takes you to after you've done this. You're going to search for, in the search box on the right-hand part of your screen, you're going to search for MC space ID. And then you're going to, from there, make sure that MC ID is put under rows, which it should be by default. Once you search for it, see it pop up, click on it. You want the MC ID to be under rows. So ultimately what you end up with here is a report that shows you on the rows of that report, it's going to show you the campaign names that you're running and what they call MCID, which is actually another way of determining how many shopping clicks you got itself. So you can probably see where I'm going with this. Once you got that report set up that way, now you can record the number of clicks on each campaign. So in other words, because you've actually chose the basic campaign report using all this, by default it's going to show you all your campaigns and all your reports. Because you added MCID under rows, it's actually going to show you how many clicks from each campaign that came from a shopping ad, and only a shopping ad. Okay? So you write down how many clicks you're getting overall, and then from each campaign, from what's showing on your screen, once MCID is added on the rows of that report. Once you remove the MCID from rows, then the numbers are all going to shift. And the difference between the numbers you see after you remove MCID and before you had and still had MCID, that's the amount of clicks that are going to everything besides shopping. So you can't actually determine how many display clicks you have and how many YouTube clicks you have or anything like that. But what you can do is tell how many shopping versus everything else, display, YouTube, discovery, search. Okay? So that's exactly how you tell basically how much waste is going on into your campaign. Now, some of the search clicks certainly aren't going to be waste, of course, because it could give you some search placements and be okay. Mainly for people that are searching for certain products that you sell by name, but I won't get into the details on that. For the most part, most of these clicks are going to be waste clicks that don't come from shopping, to keep it simple. And actually, you could see how much of the wasted clicks that are not shopping are bringing in terms of sales in that report that I just mentioned you should go to in your account to determine all this. So that's how you tell how many clicks are not going to shopping, okay? From there, if you're losing money and you can't get a high enough ROI from your PMAX to make sense, then the obvious thing to do would be to go ahead and shut off everything but shopping, which you can do with something called a feed-only PMAX campaign. And the way that you set that up is you simply go into the ad assets on your PMAX campaign, and you are going to pause all the ad assets that you have to the point where you have none of them left. Okay, once you have no ad assets left, then the PMAX campaign has no choice other than to run the shopping placements that you have. You see, so there's no way to do only shopping on PMAX, but when you give it no ad assets, it can only run shopping. It's a workaround that's worked for a few months now. So, whereas so the main thing I would tell you here with that all said, if you're making money with PMAX now, you probably, even though you're getting 20, 30% wasted clicks from your PMAX because it's running on display and YouTube and so forth, you probably just want to ride it out, because going from what you're doing now to this feed-only setup to eliminate the wasted clicks, you're probably going to get a huge amount of volatility in your campaign to the point where the amount of money you'll lose short term isn't worth what you're going to save long term with the weeding out of the junk clicks from that PMAX campaign. Now, obviously, long term it would be worth it, but you may not be able to take a short term hit on your sales. I know a lot of you guys can't take that hit. You've got a certain amount of income that you're relying on every month that comes in from this campaign. You can't take a hit because ultimately, and this goes for any change in Google Ads, no matter what you change, the bigger the change, the bigger the negative fluctuation in your results you're going to have, because everything that Google does is predicated on past history, and when you change something, the algorithm gets confused. So you may change something that you know for sure is better, and so your sales were going up, you made a major change, they go down, then they're going to come back up again, they're going to go higher than ever before, but you're always going to have to suffer through that short-term negative fluctuation, making a bigger change in your account. Bigger the change, bigger the negative fluctuations, which is by the way, you always want to be very sure of the changes you're going to make. Don't be just randomly making changes in your account. Study and think really, really hard on the changes you're going to make. And then with that, also once you make the change, don't panic and undo it because the results go backwards. Because many times if you make a big change, it'll be a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks where the results are worse, making you think what you did was worse. But if you would have stuck with it, you basically would have got through it and you would have had more results than ever. But what a lot of people will do, by the way, is they'll make a change like that. The results will go in the tank for a week and a half. And they're like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And then they reverse it. And now because they reversed it, now they have another week and a half of bad results to suffer through because now they made another big change. And if they would have just stuck with it, they would have still had to wait another week and a half for the results to really come back, and they don't have the long-term benefit of making the change in the first place. So you could think of making changes in Google Ads like ripping off a Band-Aid. You could either, respectively, you need to do it, and it's going to hurt, but it's just a part of life, if you will. If you're going to make your Google Ads account better, you got to make changes, and so to cope with it, you make one change at a time. You make a change, that might cause you to have your results go down by 15% for a couple weeks, but then your results are better after that. And then you make another change and you go through a negative bit of results for a couple weeks, and then it comes back better than ever. And then you just keep doing that. So you're able to go, and it just keeps going up. And that's just how you have to, that's how you are forced to build up an account, and you got to go through that. So as it all comes down to what we were talking about here, if you're already getting really good results from your PMAX, switching to this feed only so you're not buying any more of these display or YouTube clicks anymore, which are basically all completely waste, you may just stick with it. A lot of cases on our clients' accounts, there's things that aren't ideal, but we don't change them because we know the negative results we're going to get by changing them. It's going to take so much of a hit that we just put it off, basically. And there's other bigger things that we want to change first, because the last thing you want to do is make too many changes all at once. Then your results are really going to go negative for a while. So you're always trying to figure out what's the next best thing to kind of fix and then focus on that. Don't just see, oh, this is wrong, let's change all these things at once, because you're going to be in a world of hell in terms of the results, making that many changes that quick. So anyway, now you know full well, what's going on. You could save 20% of waste in your campaign, but you may take a 40% hit in your results for a month to try to cut out that 20% of waste, okay? So if you're in a good financial position, maybe you go for it because you want the way better results long-term you're going to get from doing that. Maybe you don't because you can't take a hit in your sales results right away. So You can either keep going with it or, stick with it and maybe do it later. But if you're starting out a brand new PMAX campaign, by the way, you always are going to, 100% of the time, I'm going to just recommend doing this feed-only setup that I explained how to do every single time, because I just don't want that waste to begin with. And there's no penalty then of having done had the campaign set up to be on display in YouTube for a while and then change it, and then my results are going to go down for a while, and then they're going to eventually come back up. I could just start with it set up the right way, and there's no time where I've got to take a negative hit. You're just starting it out the proper way that you should have started your campaign out in the first place, but you never knew about the feed-only setup that you could do where you don't have to pay for these other clicks on display and YouTube and so forth. So anyway, with that said, that's everything I wanted to share today in terms of how to determine what percentage of your PMAX spend is going to these other networks, display, YouTube discovery, and so forth. That's exactly how you do it. If you have any questions about this, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment on this channel, usually within a couple days' time. You can ask me any PPC-related question as well if you would like. I'd be happy to try to help you, guide you, and put you on the right track with your campaigns. If you like the video, I'd appreciate if you give it a like, and also consider subscribing, as I have a ton of other ton of other content on this channel about how to make money with PPC ads, coming straight from the source of the person who manages several dozen PPC campaigns on an ongoing basis to find out what works. And I'm giving you the working methods that we use to guarantee results for clients' accounts at our firm. You don't get better information than what you're going to find on this channel for Google, Facebook, and any online advertising for that matter. If you like the channel, you'll also like my blog, by the way, at guaranteeppc.com/blog. If you're looking for somebody to just take over and handle your PPC campaigns, and somebody who can guarantee results on your campaigns, you can reach out to our firm at guaranteeppc.com, and I'd be happy to do a proposal for you. We guarantee all the work that we're going to do for our clients, and I can estimate how much results I can get for you on your campaign up front, even before you have to pay a fee. But of course, we don't work with everybody, but I'd like to hear from you and see what you have as far as a business. It's a great opportunity. I would love to be able to try to help you do that. So with that said, I'll wrap it up with that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you on my next video where we have another great money-making strategy for you there as well. See you later.